Welcome everybody to a Delco Nerd Network hot take. If you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a TV show, and that TV show is Andor, Season 1. Here to discuss, as always, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Pew pew, how are you, Gooch?
Trio, my phone just interrupted the podcast, but I am doing well. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm excited to talk about some Star Wars that seems generally well-liked. And by the way, you know what my favorite part about this whole thing was? The stormtroopers actually hit what they're aiming at most of the time in the show. But Gooch, I'm feeling very good. I'm really excited to discuss Andor. Like you said, there's been a lot of hype, I feel like deservedly so, from at least the Star Wars sector of the community. I don't know about general audiences about Andor. I did not care to see more of this character, but I'm happy to be wrong after this. What did you think of Andor?
So I started pretty late. I think I started it almost when like episode 10 was airing. Mm-hmm. Like there were just a lot of shows going on. Like it was a busy season. I wasn't really like too excited about Andor, so I kind of just let it. Like sometimes I'm like, I just need to get to shit on my own time, and I end up enjoying it more instead of like really trying to like force myself through it.
That's the way to do it.
And the first two episodes kind of suck, and then after that, it's great. It's, you know, I think like everyone's saying, it's really not a Star Wars show, and I think that's why it's good.
Well,
it's really like this espionage, spy, black op,
thriller,
prison break show, and I think it does all the things that all these themes really well, but barely is Star Wars besides in name and such, besides like naming those Star Wars things.
For sure.
It's really not, you know.
But I mean, it feels like it's set in Star Wars, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I guess just based environmentally wise. It feels incredibly Star Wars.
I feel like it's Star Wars, but I'm not like, it's not like I'm
Look at this lightsaber.
I'm not distracted by the Star Wars.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You know, that makes total sense.
It's not really like a focal point of the show to be like Star Wars.
They're telling you a story that
Jedi lightsabers,
lightning, shooting a bunch of spaceships. But
right, it's subtle.
You know what I think you're talking about here? I think you're talking about that this is a story set in the Star Wars universe rather than a story about the Star Wars universe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
I think it truly feels like someone who doesn't give a shit about Star Wars came in and just wrote a good story that happened to be set in Star Wars. A logical story with events that lead from one to another in a fashion that makes sense. And I feel like that, unfortunately, isn't something we've had in a while with like Boba Fett and
ever.
Obi-Wan. No, I disagree. I think there are certain examples of it, but in recent fucking memory, absolutely. But I absolutely adore the show. I do think Cassian himself is a very interesting character. How did you like the like kind of 3-episode arc breaks that they did?
It was fine except for the beginning. I just thought those first two episodes, getting the ball rolling to Andor getting off Ferrix, and then eventually Luthen kind of recruiting him into the op that they're doing. I was like, oh man, those first two episodes, like,
they were not for you.
I will stick by it. Like, I'm not interested in this at all. And you know why? Because they really have to do with Cassian's
kind of
backstory.
Origins
and like you said, like even at the end of the season, I don't really care about Cassian Andor.
Okay, that makes sense.
The foil that he is for this show, but it's not about Cassian Andor. And I was thinking this like all through the show. I almost think the show is named improperly because it's really not about Andor. It's not his story. He just happens to be in it.
I would say it is in the way that he is the catalyst to the story. And I do think you really see his character grow and see why he believes the things he believes, especially coming to Rogue One by the end of this first series. But no, I would agree.
The name is like cheeky. It almost disguises what it really is, which is the origins of the rebellion.
Yeah.
And it could have been called like, Rise of the Rebellion or something like very obvious.
Sure.
But I'm like, maybe the Andor title actually works because it disguises itself just like the characters in the show.
No, absolutely.
Do,
I mean, it's just amazing to me to see a story about characters that, like, what's his name says? The lead spy.
Luthen?
Yeah, Luthen says, he's like,
Stellan Skarsgård.
We're not going to be, that whole speech he gives in the middle to the one officer it truly exemplifies what's so great about this series. We're talking about characters that no one's going to know about, that are sacrificing all of their morals and ideals to fight what they believe is true evil. And which, I mean, I think they do a great job of showing
For the
how
first time, I think
how
they really
actually
convey.
scary the Empire is, and
how like you're saying, like how these people that in the rebellion, Mod Mothma included, are like putting everything on the line.
Everything.
And
Yeah.
most of them are going to die.
Absolutely. And probably not be remembered.
Right.
Truly,
Just
they're
like
not-
Andor wasn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Exactly.
we know Andor dies. Like we know where this is going.
Absolutely.
We
And-
know, we know he has to do with, stealing the plans for the Death Star. Like we've all seen Rogue One.
No, absolutely. And
We know
apparently,
where it
I
goes.
didn't realize this. I guess they said this in some interview. Bit of a spoiler. He is working at this prison camp, and they're building parts for the Death Star. That's how you.
You didn't see the end credit scene, did you?
I didn't. I
You
didn't
gotta
watch
stop
it.
shutting stop shutting the shit
I
off.
do that. Yeah, there was an end credit scene of where they're building the
with
it's-
those parts.
That makes sense.
They're building the Ray
Okay.
in the Death Star.
Yeah.
So it's basically, because I was like, during the prison scene, I'm like, these are Death Star parts. There's no way.
It's funny. I don't know why I didn't connect it.
I'm
at
like,
all.
they have
It
to
makes
be.
total sense when you're saying it like
there's
that.
no way it's not.
Sure.
So what the parts are is, you know how the Death Star is a circle.
Yes. A
So-
sphere.
So
actually.
it creates the spherical, like it connects, I guess, the plates.
Yeah.
In the Ray.
Yeah.
So like they're not a weapon. They're just like connectors.
Sure. They're
So-
they're integral to
So
the
yeah,
weapon.
You missed the end credits.
That sucks. I did not
they
realize.
Were showing what that was.
You know what's so funny? I think I did see on Twitter the day after.
Just let the credits roll. You can sit on your
Yeah,
phone.
I know you're right. I don't know
Let
why.
them
I
roll.
usually it's just a reaction to just hit exit after when the credits start rolling.
Just let them roll.
No, I should because especially on these certain episodes and series, you're gonna get something like that.
I think you missed it with
I did with Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No. it was
because
Ms.
I was
Marvel.
like, why didn't she show up? And then you were like, did you watch the end credits scene?
I was like, you didn't
You didn't watch it. No, I think the series really does an amazing job, like we said, of showing how evil and terrible the Empire is, and how kind of just what's the word I'm looking for when they're content at the moment, and that they need to be kind of pushed into really pressing people in order to get this rebellion started. And it's cool to see that true gray area exist within the Star Wars universe.
And I think you see what you're saying with that one guy who's in the ISB, and he's Luthen's like inside guy, and he's like, "I'll kill you, dude.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care.
You're in this, and you're staying, or you die."
Again,
Like,
that's the whole
there's
speech
no
he gives there. He's
out.
like, and then he's like, "What are you giving up?" And he's like, it's so good.
I'm curious. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of theories saying that he's a Jedi,
Sure.
and I'm like,
I don't think so, just based off of who wrote
I'm
this.
interested to see who Luthen. Like, we only have one more season of this, which is awesome.
I love it.
So I mean, I don't know if we're gonna know who Luthen is. It's really not that important for
No, it
right
isn't.
now. But
He's
like,
the spy.
I'm
What
just
did they give him?
interested.
The
I'm
name
like, who is-
Axis or something? The woman. They give him like a name.
Yeah,
from
Axis.
Axis.
Which is funny because the Axis in World War II.
No,
are
exactly.
the Nazis.
That's
yeah.
It's all about perspective, but mostly the perspective that the Empire is full of pieces of shit. I thought it was also interesting to see the Empire starting to expand. Like they had these security teams taking care of these certain systems, but now after that big screw up with what's his name, that Weasley little fuck who's just the worst. I hate him so much. The guy who worked in a security agency.
Yeah, the cuck.
Yeah,
He's a cuck.
he was awful in the most perfect way that he needs to be awful.
The detective who was investigating the two
Cyril
murders
Khan, Cyril something.
Cyril.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's his name.
God, just the
he
worst.
sucks.
Just terrible.
It's funny because he is the opposite end of the people in the rebellion. He's the person who's the suck up to the Empire.
Who really thinks it's the right thing.
Is indoctrinated into the Empire's message and everything they are. Like he falls in love with Daedra.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm
Daedra,
pretty confident that's her
pretty sure
name.
his name. Who plays
else did-
Yen in Witcher 3.
I was going to say, that's really
and
great.
then like he loves her. And
Yeah,
like that
and he's
last-
stalking her and being creepy as fuck.
Yeah. Like he loves her like I think romantically, but
And
also,
idealistically.
right?
Yeah.
right. And he represents everything he likes in it, like in his
In the
personality,
Empire and
but
his
like,
personality, yeah.
he sees it in a woman. Like that, when he saves her at the end from being like all her powers kind of stripped away with her when this mob kind of runs her over and she loses her gun, and I think she's getting beat by a few people.
I think she's just getting trampled and
Right.
being grabbed and stuff.
And she, for the first time in her life, is fearing for her life.
Yeah.
And she gets pulled away by him, and they go into a house, and he's like, and she's like,
I hope she doesn't
and they have this like sexual tension.
Yeah,
moment.
I hope she is not that dumb and like just goes like after that she's like, oh, you're mine. I do want to talk about.
I was like, oh shit, is he gonna kiss her?
I was like, oh god, please know that this guy's a creepy, insane person. But
who lives with his mom? Blue milk cereal.
Oh, just the worst mom
and
ever
he
too.
Slurps it.
Yeah, I do love how they've just committed to the blue milk everywhere. But I want to talk about Deidre a bit because I think she was a truly amazing character in the fact of she didn't make a turn. I don't know why. I kind of felt like at the beginning they were setting her up to be like, oh, is she like in the first like 2 or 3 episodes? I'm like, are they gonna like try and turn this here? But I'm like, oh no, she's a fascist piece of shit, just like the rest of them. But you know what? She's worse because she's good at it. She's doing it because she wants to do it, not because she's trying to get up the chain. She definitely wants to, but she's doing it.
I was gonna say, I think she
but I
definitely
think
wants
most
to.
of it is coming out of the idealistic idea that she believes this is the right way to
and
also
she has like
it.
a rivalry with that one dude
who's just the worst too.
Yeah, I mean they're all like pretty.
The other
bad.
gentleman. I also loved seeing just that whole backroom meeting of how the Empire organizes and who is like in charge of the different systems. And I loved to hate the lead dude. What's
Maester,
Oh yeah, it is him.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Qyburn.
He is fantastic in this. Just as the head.
Speaking of
guy.
fantastic performances, Stellan Skarsgård deserves an Emmy for this.
That's right. Who is? Oh yes, as the Luthen. Yeah. I was like Skarsgård. Who is that again?
Yeah.
No, he's amazing.
He's really.
He's
good.
He's just a great actor in general.
It's funny how wasted he was in Thor. Ended up being.
No, it's true.
What's his character's name?
He's the doctor. Right. I can't remember. He could have been Odin, to be honest, if he really. But you can't beat Anthony Hopkins.
Like a lot of he's a good actor and
he's amazing.
It's funny comparing him to another, I guess Disney role or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, dude, they squandered him.
Yeah, kind of. I think he also got on this because he knew it was a short trip. I think it's tough to get certain actors that are like, I'm not being in 8 movies. Oh, you got a 2-season miniseries? I'll come in and do that. I want to be part of Star Wars. And this, I think he was probably won over just by the sheer, just well thought outness of this script.
It definitely seems thought out.
It really does. Again, like I said,
the sequels.
everything truly leads from one thing to another, and it makes sense while we're in the certain areas we are. What was your kind of favorite arc of the whole show? By the way, I'm going to say spoilers from here on out. I don't think there's really a ton of crazy things to like. There's not like a Anakin.
There's not
show.
like a moment.
No, there really isn't. Right. So I mean,
just be careful.
I would just recommend if you're even
out.
Slightly a Star Wars fan, please go watch this.
Yeah,
it's the Star Wars.
It's different, and I think that's why a lot of people are taking to it. I will say I don't think it's the second coming of Christ, like other people are sort of evangelizing it to be. It's good. I like it. It's different from any other Star Wars we've ever seen, but it's it's not like the greatest thing ever.
I think it's just
I'm
nice.
enjoying it.
I think, like I said, it's nice to have a Star Wars thing that in general most people seem to be liking. And I think that's kind of why you're seeing this kind of return to Jesus moment a bit.
Right. So my favorite arc is definitely the operation with the garrison.
Okay. That with the heist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like the black op.
Yeah.
That's what it is essentially. But how he gets brought into that, and there's a lot of tension, obviously between the group already, and the new guy sort of adds more tension, and you kind of get your stereotypical characters in your heist.
Yeah.
And the episode where it's I don't. Is it split up into 2 or is it just one episode where they do? Yeah, it is just one episode
where they do it's kind of like
the
3
whole heist.
Yes, exactly.
That episode was gripping. I was like, this is awesome.
And you know what I love?
This is so cool.
You know what I loved? People died and they just died. It's the one guy gets shot during the op and they're like, oh, and then they just move on. Because they have to. They're in the middle of an insane situation. And then the one dude getting crushed by the pallet.
Yeah, of all the money.
That was rough.
Crushed by the money.
Yeah.
Very poetic.
Absolutely. And no, I think that one was great. I do think the prison, whole storyline was my favorite with Andy Serkis.
I got kind of I one thing I didn't get, I'm like, okay, so Andor comes back and goes back to Ferrix and is hey, I'm back, or I'm okay. I'm gonna go fuck off for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he gets I went back to rewatch it. I'm like, how does Andor get arrested? I'm like, it feels so unnecessarily No, or like there's something about it that seemed like kind of off. But he just gets like I'm like he really was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's exactly it.
And got arrested.
But you got to also think that the Empire's just looking for labor. They're like, all right, arrest literally anyone on any little thing to show that we are not fucking around like right now.
Now that you say it, right?
And even they say it because that's after the whole heist, and they're like, we need to crack the fuck down, and that's why like Mon Mothma's like being like, this is too much. So he's literally, like you said, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, because
the cop is a jerk off, and he's just like, stay there, you're arrested.
What's that droid called?
Oh, K2SO, I think, or at least that's the one. That's the designation of the one in the movie.
Dude,
I think they're all K droids.
Is the droid in this one B2?
Oh no, B2 BE2. Oh,
it's B something.
Yeah.
Look it up. That cat, I love that droid. He's like almost like this like stressed out little caring little guy, and he's like, you know, and he, you know, like towards the end where when forget her name, Andor's mom.
B2, that is not his name.
It's something goofy.
B2 emo.
Yeah.
So he's literally emo. That's it.
I thought he was kind of cute.
No, dude, he was so cute.
And he was like, you know, like, where is she?
Where is she? You know, she's so nervous all the time.
I'm not leaving until what's her name? That character.
I can't remember her name. It's Andor's mom. Yeah,
Andor's
that was so funny. I thought it was Cruella de Vil at first, and I was like, oh no, it's Aunt Petunia.
Yeah, and you gotta come back.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, it's sad. No,
guy.
he was great, and I gotta give like
he's
Creature
like, he's a little, like accordion guy.
No, I know it's such
like he's weird.
I will give these designer credits for making a new like kind of astromech-ish type droid every time. That's pretty cool. Like BB-8, I really enjoy his design. Or his design, also, whatever he is. I mean, even, you know, you got R2D2, but no, he is really cool. Like you said, like the accordion style, and his head turns. He looked practical too for a lot of it.
BB-8 is from the sequels.
Yeah.
What in Fallen Order? It's a code name too. It's like Buddy something, right? Yeah, like that robot.
Star Wars.
All of Star Wars droids have been pretty good. I think BB-8 is probably the worst.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I think he's one of the cooler ones for me. Like, especially if they did him practically, like how he was just that little ball. I liked him a lot. I think my least favorite one of the new ones is that one that and it's such an easy one, but that stupid like one on a wheel that they introduced in the last one, in the 9th one.
The one on the wheel.
You can't even remember it. That's how bad it is. It's like you don't remember it. It's like literally on a wheel, and it has like a cone face, and it just drives.
Oh, that fucker.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about that.
No, guy. no one cared. But oh, god damn it, I cannot find. Let's see. It's B. Is he BB-8?
I don't think so.
Star Wars. Why am I forgetting Star Wars? Fallen Order. That's it.
Yeah, Fallen Order.
Droid.
BD1.
It is another B. That's what
BD1,
was. That was BD.
It's Buddy Droid.
That makes sense.
That's what it stands for.
He might be my favorite new design. I really like the way he especially replaying Fallen Order recently. But no, a lot of the set designs, droid designs in this, a lot of the things that we don't really see often, like even that Imperial kind of corporation building or whatever. It's great set designs, and you can tell that they did not use the volume for most of this. I think there are a few
I don't think they did a lot. They did a lot of it practically.
I think most of it was sets, and it was, you feel it. Listen, I think the volume is the right tool to use when it makes sense.
Why? So here's my question. Why do this practically, but not anything else?
Because I think this director pushed for it a lot. I do think the pandemic over the last 2 years, I think they're coming out of it now, and it's becoming less of an excuse. But when they were doing like Mando Season 2, Obi-Wan, all that, it was simpler to be on the volume. You could just set it up. You can have as little amount of people around to set up sets and do all that type of stuff. But I do think a major component of it was this director or the writer, I can't remember his name, Tony Gilroy. I think he came in and basically saved Rogue One. He wanted it practically done.
Because look how much people like this, and never once has anyone like talked about the fact that they were like, you know, like I feel like you're like the world of the Andor show is really like nitty gritty and grounded and immersive. It's like you do feel like you're like kind of like under like you feel like you know these locations after like watching the show,
and you feel like you're talking you're truly with the not bottom of the barrel people in Star Wars, but like the low class. You're with the people who are just living the day to day.
Normal people. Yeah.
You're not seeing like the Jedi. You're not seeing, as we said before, the Sith, whatever. And I think that works to its merit majorly. Sets can't be praised enough. What did you think? So you didn't find like Cassian himself to be that intriguing?
I mean, it was fine.
Sure.
Like, I don't have anything negative.
I really liked Diego Luna, right? He plays him. I thought he was very, very good.
I don't have anything negative to say. I care about more like what's going on than I care about Andor himself.
Sure.
Yeah. I just can't I don't think he can get me to care because I know he's gonna die.
No,
so,
that's fair. That's totally reasonable. I agree with you absolutely to a point. What was your least favorite storyline? Because mine was probably I get why it was there and it makes sense.
The Mon Mothma stuff.
I
liked why it was there, but it wasn't
as not riveting, but even
right. I liked when she was talking to Luthen. I thought it was interesting.
I liked that a lot
he had
too.
This relic. That's why other people think he's Jedi too. By the way,
he has all those relics and shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of
the Force Awakens suit back there.
There's a lot of Easter eggs in that whole thing.
There is.
Yeah, I kind of liked. So she was in a arranged marriage. She doesn't like her husband. Clearly, her daughter is indoctrinated into this
Well, she seems to almost be
cult.
Mon Mothma seemed to rebel against the old ways of where she was from, and then the daughter seems to be rebelling against the mother. So she's doing that by really enjoying these old ways. What's her?
Is a gamble. He's a kind of a degenerate
he just doesn't
rich
care.
guy.
Yeah. Where are they from again? Not Corellia. That's
I don't know.
That's Han Solo. I can't. They keep saying about the old way, but either way, did you like the kind of high society robes? On the dudes, it felt too I wish they were
her
or
husband,
even Jedi.
He had the Japanese not
I don't know. I would have liked to see more you see it from that Cyril Khan the more kind of business attire and kind of CEO-ish type attire. I did like a lot of the costumes.
Do I like it? I don't.
Sure.
I don't think I dislike it,
but it didn't
No,
it wasn't
it
cool.
didn't light me up.
I liked a lot of Mon's outfits for sure. I thought she looked great. A lot.
Different actress than they had in Rogue One, right?
No, that's the same one. That's the different one that they had.
Much different.
I think that's the different one that they had in. She actually was in the prequel trilogy too. I'm pretty confident. In a deleted scene, you see Mon Mothma.
In Rogue One, she looks much older.
I don't know. I don't believe it's a different actor. I'm pretty confident it is the same one. Who knows? Maybe she had some stuff done. More power to her.
I think it's just her hair is definitely different.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe that just kind of changed up her whole facial structure.
It is funny that she is the hardest connection that we have.
I mean, she's the
to
leader.
The Star Wars. No, but I mean, even just to the greater Star Wars stuff, and she really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, Mon Mothma is definitely the leader of the rebellion, hands down. I think we had to pick one. It's pretty obvious it's her.
Yeah, I'd say what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. The spy master Luthen. I feel like he would kind of rival her to a degree
Saw
too.
Saw Gerrera's place in this is kind of interesting. Still kind of this outskirts, ragtag
rebel dude. Yeah,
and nobody he's
this seems to be a little bit before he's kind of gone more off the deep end.
He's doing his part, but there still seems to be some disagreement with how he's doing things.
Absolutely, I really enjoyed that whole arc of him being given the information about the other rebels too. We can let these rebels die and keep our informant in there, or we can save these 15 men and ruin our informant and get him figured out. And he kind of gives that to Saw, and he's like, I'm letting you make this decision. Riveting stuff. Great things.
One thing I didn't really like is who's that dude on the inside that they kept name dropping that you actually never see?
I don't remember.
Not Carruthers. He has they keep saying his name. It's something like that.
Who's what, their man on the inside of what? I don't remember this part.
They keep when he goes to Saw for the last time, they're talking about that guy. He's there to talk about this dude who's
who they're gonna who's gonna get killed,
and they think it's not Bix or Bex
or whoever. Bix? Well, no, not Bix. There was another guy that Luthen. He gets the information from their inside guy about
not the ISB dude in the elevator.
I know the guy that they're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we don't see him. That's just
what's his name?
I forget, but I think they do talk to him a few times. So he's just another rebel guy,
right? But they talk about him being found out, and
that's exactly what I was talking about. And then he was giving Saul the option to sell him out or to save him,
right?
Or
yes.
to
we're talking about the same person.
or to just let it go and let their operative stay safe. again, a very morally
and
gray
it's like,
decision.
do we risk everything to save this guy, or do we just tell him to we just fucking kill him?
Yeah, or we just let him die.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
we let
like
to save the ambiguity of the rebellion.
The moral dilemma of being a terrorist essentially.
No, absolutely,
because they are. I mean, like I know we're kind of on their side, obviously,
but they are making things worse.
They're terrorists.
They're making things worse on purpose to make the Empire overreach and make people want to rebel even more.
Because clearly, some people like Cyril and his mom and
they don't mind the
some
Empire.
other people, they like being under the
no,
Empire.
they're on top of the world. They don't mind. But then you see these shittier kind of backwater planets that don't enjoy that.
And I do like that
stuff.
character who's part of the operation, the female, the girl, blonde hair.
Yes,
she's the rich. She's
right, yeah, that's right. And then
you kind of see I'm like, oh, she's you think that she's a rebel, doesn't come from
ragtag,
anything.
whatever.
She's the exact opposite.
Yeah, no, she's the
she
privileged woman who
a lot of money, and she was
wealth.
in the trenches along with these people.
Yeah.
Like it was like there's a real and her look and appearance really changes. Like you're like, is this the same?
No, it's true. You almost didn't even recognize her.
It is her. She's just really dolled up now. You know, she looks like a rich person.
No, she looks. It's funny what hair can do. But one thing I really liked about the whole heist storyline was when that one dude was like, "Oh no, I was lying. My brother. I don't care about the rebellion. Let's just take everything." And kind of Cassian's like, no, fuck you. That felt like a bit of a learning moment for Cassian, even in the later ones where he's like, no, you're in this or you're not. Or you don't, not even that, or you don't betray your word, at least. But,
and he just kills him.
Yeah, he just kills him, and then he takes his cut, and he fucking ships off. He's like, I don't care about the rebellion. I don't care about the Empire. I got my money. I'm going to this weird beach planet where people sit on stairs in front of the ocean, and I'm going to get arrested. And he did. He did that. But, no, I definitely think the prison break was my favorite part. Andy Serkis, he needs to be in more shit.
Not so, dude. I'm like, what's up with I'm like, oh, here we go, Andy Serkis. I'm like, how's this relating to fucking Snoke or some shit? Like, who's gonna fucking make that claim? And then somebody, obviously people did. It's like, this is the genetic clone copy. This is where they got Snoke from. And I'm just like,
we don't need that. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, Andy Serkis did. On program! In his fucking New Zealand accent. On program!
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he's had to do motion capture for so long. He's so good at emoting in his face. I don't know what it is. I really like it.
I didn't think I was gonna like the prison part at first, but then once we got into it, it's pretty interesting.
Absolutely, and I did love how they set up all these characters again that he's working with. They do it multiple times.
And there's some people
in this.
from Rogue One with him.
The one dude he escapes with. He's in Rogue One briefly, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't really know what happens to. I
don't think he's dead, but I wouldn't be. I'd actually be fine if they were
never see him again.
That's it. We don't know what happened to him. He might have died. He might have just stayed in the prison planet. No, I did like that a lot. I also love the idea of the Empire being like, yeah, we could have machines make this, but we're making prisoners make it because why wouldn't we? And just to get people to fuck off because they could easily automate that process. Yeah. I mean, I'd assume so. I guess I should say.
The prison part. What more did I just say? Oh, when the guy dies and they find out that the sentences aren't.
They're just being shipped off to different basically prisons after their sentence is done.
Right, and when he dies, and they realize that floor 2 was totally everyone died and they killed everybody, and they're like, dude, we're never getting out of here.
And that was that breaking point for Andy Serkis's character. Yeah, it was great.
He didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, he's like, listen, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna stay on program. And honestly, you know what? If the Empire actually did just do that and let people go after their sentence was done, this shit probably wouldn't happen. They just had to be the worst.
Yeah, and they were it was in shifts. You had to do X amount of shifts.
And then they had very little guards on it. I loved the mechanic of them all being barefoot and the floors just charging them. And they all and that's why they're all wearing those goofy boots and stuff like that to stop that. Right. It was an interesting idea. And
interesting prison in general. Yeah. Like you're saying, it's just very different. Guards aren't around.
It's all white.
There's an actual
pristine
leader of each group.
Yeah, who is also a prisoner.
Right.
It's interesting. It's very, very interesting.
But they're well fed, and I guess they get it I don't know if it's a nice bed, but they get a bed.
They get a bed,
and they and they even said he's they get food and water. He's they want us.
And even that part,
good to go, like to
exactly,
work.
because they need us. And
Right.
I love even the idea of how they're so overconfident that they don't even have cameras in those rooms with them. Like when Cassian's talking to me, he's like, they're not listening. They don't give a shit. They don't think we'll do anything.
And once shit starts hitting the fan, where they're bringing in the prisoner to replace the old guy who died, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Shit hits the fan. People are dying. Like the way they're like getting the
Lots
blasters.
of dude, yeah.
Like, it's cool, man. I don't think we'll ever see another Star Wars show like this, because like
Maybe not.
How many shows are we going to see about the beginning of the rebellion? What would be interesting, like, and I think there's like room to explore. It's like we don't really know how the First Order like came to be.
Sure.
We don't really know where Snoke is from. We don't really know like where Hux came from.
So I feel like all of that stuff is
in
in a book somewhere, though. Is the unfortunate thing.
Like, where the fuck, like, and then like, of course, there's like the infamous Knights of Ren that we never got to see, and it's like, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that lies within the sequel trilogy and after it, but it's like it seems such a cursed territory. All these shows that have come out, none of them are okay, it's after the prequels, after the original trilogy, but like we're stuck in
this time zone.
We're still not at.
We're stuck in a time frame.
We're still not at the sequels, and it's like I would like to see stuff set within that. That has nothing to do with those characters.
No, absolutely. I'm more of the mind of let's move out of that, and I think that's the easy one to do. I do think that would be more interesting, but I do think they've unfortunately, like with the Obi-Wan series, the crux of that, my issue was that should have been the story about him taking down Darth Maul. That's what that story should have been.
But we did it in the Clone Wars.
But we already did it in the Clone Wars. We already did it which is fine. But I think a lot of these things are unfortunately explained in other places that not many people are going to see when they could be used for projects like you're saying. And I think that would be even more interesting. And I do love to see that we're finally kind of breaking the mold of these time frame things. The Acolyte will be set way before the original trilogy, which
I want
about.
Way before or right after the sequel trilogy.
My guess is that's about how the Rule of Two starts. That's my best guess of what's going on there.
The Acolyte
show, okay. But I'm assuming.
When's that start?
I don't know. They're filming it as we speak, so that's in.
You know what's funny? I don't think we have a Marvel show. Mandalorian, I guess, is next, but we don't really.
That's not till March, right?
We don't really have another Marvel or Star Wars show in a bit. This is, I think, the first time we've had like a big gap.
Well, I mean, Bob Iger is stepping back in, and I do think they're kind of shifting their focus back to movies a bit more. And I think, again,
there's just too much shows.
No, there are. And again, things that are shows that don't need to be. Like Obi-Wan, for instance, that's still my
I'm
go-to
interested
example.
when we talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Star Wars special. Because like
the Christmas special, you mean?
What did I say?
Guardians of the Galaxy Star Wars special.
Yeah. The Christmas special.
There's a Star Wars special.
I'm interested to get to there and have that conversation, because I'm like, I think we were asking for this kind of content, but it's like, I'm not sure we want it now that we have it. We all know about the Star Wars Christmas special and how fucking horrible that was.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're kind of doing it again.
I don't think you'll ever reach that peak of how bad that is, because I know
that's
a whole
television.
That's just so that's But I do take your point of why that is. I've heard really good things about the Guardians one, and I think that being a James Gunn thing,
bad about it, but you know me. So,
sure.
So it's cool that we're having this miniseries, but it's interesting to see. It's like I think we're finally exhausting a lot of those projects that have come to be.
That we were waiting on.
Yeah, and I know we had our our Star Wars gut check, and there is some stuff in the future, but it's still
it's very much up in the air.
Are they still we're just gonna ride this TV high that we seem to be riding with Star Wars? Or are we actually gonna get movies again?
No, I know it's unfortunate, and
because as good as Andor is being received, I don't think as many people were watching it.
No, I think you're right, and I think it's unfortunately
a type of conversation around this show.
Well,
and for somebody who literally wasn't watching it.
Well, and I do think you don't have, like we said before, we don't have your pew pew lightsabers, force, lightning. All that kind of regular, more bombastic things that bring people in that maybe certain people do really want to go to Star Wars to see, and more power to you if you want to do that. I totally understand. This is a much more relaxed, individual look into this universe in a way that we truly haven't seen, about a character that died already, so it's kind of hard to sell people on that. I think there are legitimate reasons as to why this isn't doing bad, and it just sucks. And I do think part of it is also a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. A lot of people, I get it. They weren't fans of these last couple series majorly, not even, maybe more mixed like I was. and they feel burned, so they don't want to get back into it. A lot of those people I feel like are kind of jumping back on for this, which I like to see. But I do think it's a tougher sell on your general audience.
They were never not going to watch it. Come on.
No, I don't know. I do think there are certain like people out there that maybe are Star Wars fanatics that won't
with the
touch
Marvel
that.
shit. I think we're looking at like two different kind of like loyalties here. Like I think the Star Wars fans will watch the shit no matter where it is. The Marvel stuff I think is more interesting. I think Marvel's we're having like a different conversation at this point. I think Marvel's losing people in their show stuff.
I would agree.
Think they're losing some people. I think like I'm not, and I think Star Wars is too, but in a different kind of way.
Sure.
I'm not even really sure what I mean by that.
That would be an interesting kind of just topic discussion in general. Marvel versus Star Wars, the fandom, like how interesting. But Andor,
right?
Andor.
I think the only question I have for you, and I don't really have an answer to this, what do you want to see in season 2?
I don't know. I didn't know what I wanted to see in this first season.
Yeah, it's a good,
and I will give them free reign.
And I think that's good because neither of us had expectations for this. I had a low bar.
I had a pretty low bar too, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think most people did. And I saw the trailers, and I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't really about Andor. This is about the rebellion.
Yeah.
So like from the trailers, I was kind of like turned on a little bit, but I still like didn't start right when it came out.
No, absolutely.
I waited like fucking 9 weeks to start it.
Yeah, I did get behind on the last 3, and then I watched like the last 3 at once. And how many excuse me, I'm sorry. Well, how many episodes were there total?
There were 12.
Okay.
Which is more than we usually get.
And surprisingly not, it didn't overstay its welcome that much for me.
I would agree.
Yeah. Guys, gals, folks, whoever's watching, go watch Andor. I think it's good. I think that's all we have to say on season 1 today.
It's different.
It's different. It's good.
And I think for that reason.
And I know you said it doesn't really feel like Star Wars, but I do think it really does in the ways that a story being set in that universe should. But it's not about the Star Wars. It's about the story. And I love to fucking see it. Thank you all so much if you've been watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We very much appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We're on all your favorite social media pages as well. We got at Delco Nerds on basically everything. We have a Facebook page. We have a Discord channel, which should all be linked down below. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. You can even email us, delconerds@gmail.com, with all your comments, questions, or concerns. We'd be very happy to get back to you guys. If you can leave a like, comment, or subscribe, review the podcast wherever you're watching or listening, that also really helps us out. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.